Welcome to this live. We are gonna touch base with Kathy, so let me just go ahead and find her for just a second. I haven't been live in a long time, and it kind of feels like a first time all over again. So, ready for joining. As you guys know, I'm Telma, and I am a life coach. Today, I am super excited to have Kathy with us. And
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Definitely. Your hair looks amazing.
Thank you, just for you. Because
Did you get it lightened?
Yes, last year. I'm getting used to the whole concept of lighter hair.
Oh my, no, but honestly, because we've been on live since last year, it looks lighter. Maybe it's the green. It looks fabulous, whatever it is.
Thank you, Kathy. So thank you so much for joining me. I think we should start by having everybody get to know you a little bit. So why don't you tell them who you are and what is it that you do?
Sure. So I'm so excited to be here, Telma. I am a midlife coach and I help women bring awareness and knowledge to the midlife transition so that they're going to be able to embrace their life with self-compassion, strength, and joy. Because it can be kind of a shock when you enter midlife. It can be very unsettling.
I think that we talked a little bit about that before. So what is midlife? Like, when does one enter midlife?
Oh, yeah. So the knowledge of that completely shocked me, Talma. So midlife is generally accepted as being defined of age 35 to 70 is your midlife. So we spend like most of our lives in midlife, so younger adulthood is like 20 to 35, and then middle adulthood is 35 to 70, and then older adulthood would be 70 and older. So we're in it for a chunk. And I think how it blindsides people, women, is that when we're 35, we don't like feel old, so you don't really sort of look for those sort of declining estrogen signs or that feeling of unsettledness that a lot of people get in midlife. You're just not ready for it. You kind of feel like it should come closer to 50, when like our moms told us that's when menopause happens, right? 50, and that's it. So it really took me by surprise, and I took it hard. And so I'll be 48 this year. And so it just brings me so much joy to be able to help women with that rocky transition.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And it's beautiful that you cover the concept, because yes, many of us think of midlife as what we were told. What we were like, oh yeah, when you're 45-ish and you start feeling like you have lack of energy. But honestly, also our bodies are constantly changing, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people freak out when they're going to turn 30, and then they freak out they're going to 40, and then there's a different panic level when it comes to 50. Maybe we could just understand why. And that's awesome that you support women going through that so they don't drive themselves crazy, because I could see how that can be overwhelming to
navigate. Yeah. Well, because you work with moms, and so when somebody has a baby, you're having all these hormonal changes, right?
Yeah.
And that can just be hard to navigate. But with the way our lives are now and our society is now, a lot of women are experiencing early perimenopause symptoms and midlife symptoms when their kids are younger too. And so you often confuse, like, what am I feeling? Am I feeling just these like mommy brain, or is it like midlife brain fog? Like, so it can be really hard to navigate, and to know that there's women like me and you and communities to help other women and to help each other through these times is, I think, so empowering.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't agree more because it's just this is not something that you should do alone. I know that, one of the mentors that I absolutely love says that we're not meant to do life or business alone, and I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. So
Yeah.
in today's life, I think we decided that we were gonna get into the fact that we both choose a word of the year, and I think that's on its own is beautiful. But we should probably start with that. Why is it that you choose one word a year? Like,
Yeah.
what is your idea behind it? And then if it's the same one, I'll confirm. If not, then I'll share mine.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really something that I just started probably within the last like 3 to 4 years. And it when I sit down, whether it's in December or at the beginning of January, when I just sit down to sort of say, all right, because no matter what, if you decide to do resolutions or whatever, the new year always brings this sense of like, all right, we can start fresh. And I think, I don't know about you, but I feel it in September too. But anyway, so when I sit down to sort of just say, okay, like, what do I want to bring into my life? And what do I want to get rid of? Like, so I try to think about these things. And so not only do I sort of relate it to words, like, so that's where it came about, is to think of a word to carry me through. And then I sort of take that word and knowing that it's my word, I just try to like infuse it into my day, my week, my month, my plans, and I like to do a color of the year too. And so yeah, last year was like a salmon sort of color, like an orangey pink.
Oh, I love that.
Um, yeah, and I kind of went overboard, but I love it. It makes me happy. It gives me, I don't know, it just brings fun into my life. So it back to the word, it really helps me move forward and like make plans, and it's almost like a touchstone, like a grounding point, like when life starts to get crazy, I can remind myself of what I wanted this year to sort of be like.
Yeah, I think that I agree. So, what's the color of this year?
Yeah, so this year it's funny too. It's a shade of pink again. So like actually this is the color of last year.
Okay.
And so I just had a binder. And so this year I'm feeling like a sort of like a hotter pink isn't the word. Like, I
Vibrant?
don't know what?
Vibrant?
Yes, vibrant, sort of like, it's funny because like I think of it almost as like that, how Instagram has like the orange and the pink. So it's sort of like that bright pink, but not like hot pink. I don't know. When I find it, I'll show you, because what I did last year was like bought a water bottle and my phone case and all these things. And so when I find that color, but that's the shade I'm sort of feeling.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that color. It's a happy color still. And
Yeah,
I feel like it's an energetic color if I had to think of it. I'm a big
yeah,
fan of salmon pinkish. When I was pregnant and we found out it was a girl, everybody's like, "Oh, are you gonna paint the whole thing pink?" It's like, no,
yeah,
but maybe like a salmonish, like
yeah.
and the colors are teal and that orange that you showed, kind of like
Ooh,
a
yeah,
orange pink.
yeah,
It's fun.
yeah.
Um, anyways, I agree with the word of the year. I also use it as I grew up doing resolutions. So in Mexico, the tradition is that at the end of the year, you have 12 grapes, and for every grape, you make a resolution, and you kind of shock them on the last minute of the last.
You put it, you eat it?
Yeah, one at a time. Like, but it's in the last 60 seconds, so you kind of have to go at it fast as you're thinking of the resolution. So you have to be ready, which requires preparation of like, okay, today my 12 grapes and my resolutions and blah 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 blah.
That is so fun. I've never heard of that. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, that's amazing.
that's the tradition that we follow. But then, you know, I have kids, and so they would definitely choke. Yeah, and And
They
so,
get half a grape, right? They get
but
half a
even then, like
resolution.
if they see everybody go at it so fast, they can barely like chew. So we plus 12 resolutions. The more than I think about it, I was like, oh my gosh, that is definitely setting myself up for like failure. Unless I'm thinking like I'm gonna continue my morning routine and things that are already set, then I'm
Mm,
thinking I don't want to set up for myself for like, oh, I'm gonna be a whole new different person in a year, because we both know that that's not how it works.
yeah.
When I consolidate it into a word, um, I think part of it is the fact that we both read a book of Wisdom of the Ages, and in there, every chapter was one word, and then it would explain the meaning behind it, and it give you like ideas on how to add that to your day and to your routine. And I thought that was such a neat concept because it felt easy and inviting,
Mm,
and yet, after I read that, I would read that chapter, I would really go into this reflection of like, what does that word mean to me, and how would I implement it? And
yeah.
anyway, so that is like that's kind of how it came down to like one word.
Yeah.
And did you did you say what the word of your year was?
I did not say it on the live because we just thought it was so funny because so first I want to say the book that Telma is referring to is Wayne Dyer
Yeah,
because it's a really great book. And so maybe what would the Wisdom of the Ages, was that the
yeah.
title? Yeah, Wayne Dyer. So it's a great book to pick up. And Telma and I were in a book study together, so it was amazing. But so Telma says, Kathy, do you want to go live? And, what do you want to talk about? And I think you said, do you have a word of the year or something? And I said, yeah. And I said it. And you said, oh my God, that's mine too. So this is so fun. And so our word, and we didn't know it was the same word, but it's intention, the intentions around things. And so we said, oh my gosh, that's just it. Because we can kind of talk about what it means to each of us. Because I'm sure maybe it's different.
Mm-hmm. Do you want?
Mm.
Why don't you start and tell us why you pick that word for your year to start
Sure,
out?
sure. I would actually, before I start, I'd love to see if anybody who's on right now, throw in your word of the year and let us know, or maybe you do a color too. Like throw in your word, throw in your color, and we'll keep an eye on that. But so I chose intention, um, because I love the one thing, there's more than one thing that I love about the word, but what I love about it for me is that for me it is sort of it allows me to forgive myself and it allows me grace, because if I know that my intentions are good and are from a good place, when things do go bad, because they do go bad, things are going to go bad. Um, if I know my intention was good, then I'm so much more graceful with myself and I'm so much more forgiving, because it's it's hard when things go bad, or when something messes up, or you make an attempt to forge a friendship, or you make an attempt to tell somebody how you feel and it might be uncomfortable, um but your intention is good. And so I loved it for that it allows me to have grace around moving forward with my life, but also it's going to remind me to have to be deliberate with what I do, to have intention, because I feel like sometimes without intention, I can just coast and like go through life and be like day to day to day to day to day crap. But if I have an intention to grow, then I know I'm going to move forward with it. So tell me about you.
I I agree with all of everything that you said, but for me, I the only thing that I would add is the meaning of it really uh just touched me in a way that I think the meaning is like to have to I think intended, but it also is kind of like a healing process. So when I googled it, I was like, oh my gosh, a healing process and to be intentional. And yeah, intention mean is a nice reminder for myself to make sure that what I'm saying has a good intention behind it. So because sometimes when we're in the middle of a conversation and a back and forth, I'm already just kind of reacting or being there, like you said, costing, versus like having a clear intention of like, I'm gonna have a conversation with my husband. It's probably gonna be a little weird and a difficult one, but if my, like you said, my intention is a good one, or for me to communicate how I'm feeling about this, then it is important, and it makes me feel a lot more empowered, and it also makes me pick my words wisely, because I'm not trying to prove a point, I'm not trying to be right, I'm just trying to communicate. So it makes you reconsider how you're gonna show up to a conversation, or how you're gonna show up to like exchange of energy, I guess. Or so I just feel like it's definitely uh inviting to be more aware. So last year my word was awareness, which
Yeah.
I'm still a huge fan of, and I think that is so important to have.
Mm.
But once you have awareness, you kind of want to add intention to it so you can better show up. And I like, so maybe my day is super unproductive because I don't have like a lot of plans or whatever, but my intention is to be present with my kids. And you just, and so therefore it's just so inviting. I felt like it was inviting, and
Yeah.
it felt easy and fun. Like I can
Yeah.
see it has a lot of room to where I can journal about it, I can write, I can like laugh on it, it's very, like you said, forgiving too.
Yeah, yeah. I love how you said empowering, because it really is. To set forth an intention is really, it's owning it, right? It's
Yeah.
empowering. I love that. I love that too.
Yeah, and I think it also allows you to take better responsibility on how you show up. So if you really think of the intention behind a conversation per se, then you're really taking the responsibility on how you're communicating that. You're not just, throwing things and see what sticks. You're being intentional, so you are actually knowing how you're showing up, and that for me is going to be very beneficial, because communicating is obviously a big part of a community, and
Yeah.
so it's something that I also value very much. So that's
Mm.
why I picked it.
Yeah. I think we both picked an amazing word.
Yeah, and I agree. I think when we realized that we had both picked the same one, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so amazing and interesting and
It's
beautiful at
fun.
the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
That means that this year you and I can keep each other accountable to staying with our word.
Yes. Yes. And
Mm.
yes, but I really like the way that you presented it as like forgiving, because yes, sometimes things go just you can imagine it going one way and then it goes in a completely different way. You're just like, oh well, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, right. And then yeah, definitely you're like, well, that's not what I meant, right? Like that's not how I saw this playing out, right?
Right. So I know that there's a few people watching this live. So Kathy had asked if you had picked a word for this year. Does anybody want to throw the word of the year for us to talk about? I know that you had invited them, so I just want to remind them really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you pick a color of the year too, or no?
I don't, but I mean I could.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I just like to do fun things. So I thought, well, maybe, and it switches it up. And I'm very, very indecisive at times. And sometimes I can be non-committal. So knowing that I get to choose a color and that I get to change it next year is feels good to me.
Yeah, it sounds like it's reassuring to you.
Yeah.
Well,
Because you know how everyone's like, what's your favorite color? And you like have to pick one.
yeah,
Like
I don't like
now
that.
I get to be like, well, this year it's and I'll change it next year. So
Yeah, I don't like that favorite color. And why do I have to just pick one? Like, no, that's so much pressure. But what I am trying to do this year, and I started last year, but slowly transitioning. Right after I had kids, I started wearing a lot of black for some reason. Uh, Everybody knows that because we live in leggings, and the most comfortable ones happen to be black. But I
yeah.
think it started like that, and then it slowly progressed to where like a lot of my wardrobe is black. And I'm not mad about it, but it's definitely not necessarily who I am, to where I see my kids always wanting to wear pink or blue or purple, and I'm like, why? Where is my purple? Like, where?
Yeah.
Why don't I have anything purple? And so the goal of this year, color wise, is for me to add more color to my wardrobe and start slowly taking out the blacks that I have, because I had so much of it. And it was a comforting color because I
It
was going
is.
through such a transition in my life to where my body, my mind, my hormones, my nothing felt or looked the same.
Yeah. And I mean, really, it's such a huge transformation too, because like you have a whole nother person to think about. And then and you had yours so close to you, and then a whole nother person to deal with. So you really start to lose a lot of it. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I know black and black matches. I know I'm going to look good when I leave the house. So I'm just going to do this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It
can
felt,
see definitely how that happens.
yeah, it felt easy and comforting. But now I have my kids calling me out, like, Sophia is like, no, mommy, pink. And I'm like, oh, well, shoot, I don't know that I don't have a pink dress. And because right now she's obsessed with dresses and I'm not.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Pink dresses. There's nothing like it. That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the other thing that I wanted to touch base on and pick your brain is what is your take on, and you touched a little bit on it, on the whole goal resolution for the year?
Mm.
And what would
Um,
like if you're not into goal setting, what would you advise instead?
yeah. I I'm a huge advocate for like do what feels good to you. And with that being said, if somebody is like they set resolutions or goals and they meet them every year, then it's working for them and do it. But if you set them every year and it's not working, maybe, gently think of something else to do. Because it's in the act of like failing or letting something go that we tend to make ourselves feel bad. And so there's just so many ways to approach the new year. You could have like a yearly goal, right? And a yearly intention. Or you might say, well, this month I'm going to try to do more of this. And I think when we set goals and resolutions, like what movies and society they tell us is they have to be these like big things, like I'm going to become a millionaire this year, or I'm going to lose 100 pounds this year, or I'm going to stop smoking this year. These huge
Oh, that,
things. Yeah, yeah, these huge things. And if you don't have a plan in place, so it might be you take that and you break it down. It's like our friend Clarita says, like that 1% more,
mhm.
so you might say, I'm going to earn X amount of money in January more than I did in December, and then reevaluate it, so I'm not a big fan of them, and I'm not a big fan to not have, like, I almost don't want to say I don't care what other people do. I'm not a big fan of telling somebody that they're good or bad. But for me, I think that I've learned that I need to take a goal and break it down. And that's really the only way I can achieve things, is to really take it one step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time. I mean, sometimes it's like when I'm changing something huge in my life, it might be like second to second. Like I need to like take this real slow, right? So, yeah, I I like starting off the year with how do I want to feel this year? How do I want to present myself this year? And then my goals sort of stem off of that.
Yeah, for sure. I feel
Yeah.
also another thing that, well, as you know, I grew up in the tradition of like the 12 grapes, and I will have 12 grapes. I'm not gonna lie. I still like the tradition
Oh
of it,
yeah, it's
but I
fun. It
want
sounds
to
so
touch it.
fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. But once the kids cannot choke, because then that wouldn't be fun. Um, I like the concept, but I agree with you. I feel like 12, first of all, is kind of unreasonable unless they're tiny little ones that you can hit one a month or something like that, that is gonna create like a better habit in a way. So if
Yeah.
I am attaching it to good new habits that I wanna continue or that I wanna fit, then, but I also think that it's so important to decide how are those goals gonna make you feel like, and why do you have the goal in the first place? Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, oh, I saw it on Instagram, or this is what's popular this year, and
Yeah.
I mean that's not sustainable. And when your motivation or Instagram changes or whatever, then so is your goal, and then you're gonna be like, well, I don't even remember why it was my goal. And then, so I really think that if you're into goals, I highly like, I like it. Yes, break it down into steps, but also have a really good why and a good reason as how you wanna feel when you once you accomplish that. And take the time to visualize it or dream about it or picture it when it's done, and also picture it
Yeah.
it's gonna take you to get there. Not just
Mm,
like, not just the final product where it's all done and you never really
yeah.
went but you lost 10 pounds. Like the whole thing, the whole process.
Yeah, yeah. There's something. So in February, I'm starting a group coaching program, and it's all about taking a look at your values and your strengths, and then from those, thinking of dreams and goals and intentions that can be supported by who you are already. Because it's sort of like what you're saying, like some of these goals that I might choose may really not resonate with me, or I may not have the value system in place or the strengths in place to meet these goals. Everybody's different, and so it's a really neat way to look at an individual and say, okay, how can we make this work for you? How can we make your intentions and your dreams and your goals a reality based off of who you are?
Yeah. And if it's congruent with your values, I think that's super important, because then it's going to feel a lot easier and your gut's
Yeah.
going to support them versus resisting them.
Yeah. And exactly like what you said, it helps with your why. It totally solidifies your why. It helps remember why you want to do it in the first place.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
I'm excited about this group coaching. You want to tell us a little bit more as we wrap this up so they know where to find you if they want more information?
Sure. Yeah. So you can definitely find me here on Instagram, Coach Kathy Batista. My website is kathybatista.com. The program is going to start February 1st, and it's going to last for the month of February. We'll have 3 lives, and everyone will do a one-on-one session with me towards the end to just solidify and touch base with everything that we've learned. One thing I'm really excited about, though, so this is my first group program. And so I'm always like, what do I love about group programs? Well, for one, I love the community. So we'll have a great community. We'll have a way to keep in touch all together, whoever the ladies that join. But the other thing that I love, like, I love bonuses. Like, I love when it's like, oh, this is fun. It's like, you're getting something extra. And so I have 3 bonuses lined up for these ladies, and it's going to be amazing. And so Clarita is going to do a bonus episode for midlife nutrition and wellness. And then we'll have a fashion stylist who's going to be giving us wardrobe wisdom. And then our friend Vicky from Farm to Soul and from 365 Revival, she's going to be teaching us how to connect with our inner child in midlife. So it's like, yeah,
Wow.
I know. Not only do we get to take a look at our values and our strengths and see how we can make our dreams and goals alive and well in our lives, but those bonus sessions are enough for me. I'm so excited for them.
I'm excited too. I mean,
Yeah.
up on this thing, right? So anybody can sign up, right? Or do you have to be
Oh,
35?
yeah.
Okay.
I did not hear you. It cut out. What?
Oh, I said, as you're not putting an age cap on this. You don't have to be 35 and up to sign up, do you?
No, no,
Okay.
no.
I was like, I was like,
Yes, you're
what?
gonna have to send me your birth certificate.
I mean, or a copy of my. Because you remember the days? I don't know actually if this ever even applied to you because they were not so strictlers. But when I started going out with like a fake ID for the longest time, so by the time that I could use mine, I was like, oh, what? Yeah, sure.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
not a big deal at all.
Telma, I was bad too. Were you bad? I was 18 and I had a fake ID. And you're just like, what? And you think you're pulling one over, and then just the old men at the door are probably like, come on.
Yeah, you're just like, at least you tried, whatever.
Right? Yeah. So no age limit, because really, I actually think too that sometimes it's like that. You know how and you do wellness too, like people say, okay, you're 5'3", this is how much you should weigh, and this is how it's gonna happen, and your periods should be 28 days and da 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 da.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like midlife, that's like the guidelines. Like I know people who are over 70 who are like, I am not an older adult yet. I have and then you've got people in their early 30s that are like, I am like ready to make some big changes. So no, I will not. There's no age limit.
I just wanted to confirm if I had to get in contact with the fake ID person.
Do you know, my husband used to make them in his basement when he was in high school. How bad
Oh,
is
really?
that, right?
See, that would have to
I'm
be
like,
so handy.
yeah. I'm like, how can you discipline our kids knowing that you were making fake IDs in the basement, right?
If I think I would tell your kids, I was like, I could still use one of those. I know the best source is very sure when it's coming from your parents.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah.
I started at 18 too, 17 actually, because that's when I graduated high school. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really did want to continue and survive college, or so I told myself.
Well, look at us now. We're a good advocate for maybe making a few mistakes, right?
Have you
Yeah.
I mean, not all rules are meant to be followed to the T, is what we're saying.
Yeah, that's too funny. So yeah, I am. I'm so excited for this, and we'll see how it unfolds. And it'll be February, and I haven't. My sales page isn't even open yet, but there's a wait list, so you could get on that. And when we start selling, you'll be the first to get it, right?
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm gonna put everything Instagram to in. Maybe you should send me the sales page too, just to put it on the notes so people can find it really quickly. And if they want to join, they can. It's one click away. But that's exciting. Thank you so much for sharing that, and your time, and your light, and your energy. We always have such a good time just laughing. I feel like we laugh a lot.
Yeah. I think it's a good connection, and I love it. And I would love to come back on live anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to think of a new subject.
Yeah.
Or maybe how did your first group coaching went? Like, I want to know how it went.
Yeah.
I might have first tips on it because now that I read on now that I got the bonuses, I was like, oh, I feel like I could really use this anytime with this. Like,
right? Maybe in a few months we can talk about, are we really using our word of the year? Like, are we actually doing it, and how,
Yeah, that would be fun. That's accountability at its finest.
Live. All right, tell me, what have you done to be intentional?
Okay, well, Kathy, I will let you go because I'm trying to be respectful of your time. But I thank you so much for tuning in, for coming over and telling us about it. And I will go ahead and put the information on the notes.
Thank you.
Good luck. Stay intentional because we're gonna come back here and we're gonna touch base now. So just remember that.
We will. Okay. All right, Telma, thank you so much. And thank you all for watching, and we'll see you around Instagram.
Yeah. Bye.